This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome everyone to the City of Warrenville Public Safety and Finance Committee meeting of the whole. This committee will be, actually the note is that public comment will only be available in person during this meeting. Remote meeting access is for viewing purposes only. Those viewing the meeting remotely will not be able to provide public comment via the remote meeting access. So I'm going to call the meeting to order and can I have a roll call, please.
Mayor Brummel,
Here.
Alderman Ashour,
Here.
Alderman Augustinovich,
Here.
Alderman Berry,
Here.
Alderman Davalos,
Here.
Alderman Kruckenberg is absent, Alderman Lockett,
Here.
Alderman Widener,
Here.
Alderman Wilkie.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. If everyone that can rise for the pledge to the allegiance. Next item is public comments. We have one request from Mike Hoffman.
My name is Michael Hoffman, 3 South 436 Second Street. I come across some pictures, and I believe I've shown them up here before, so I'm probably repeating, but for people new in the council, you might be interested. This is I spent 12 weeks, 7 to 7.5 hours a day, 5 days a week in front of Tony Charlton's office in DuPage County Stormwater Management. I read the entire file of Faywell Dam. It consists of the big banker boxes, the ones, I don't know, probably about 2 foot or 30 inches by legal size. I read 7.5 of those jam-packed full. This is one of them. They had a book in there that was prepared by prepared for DuPage County by the Department of the Army, Chicago District, Corps of Engineers, Chicago, Illinois, June 1975. And right here is a picture of a guy. It's not a very good picture because while I was investigating this, I had to take pictures of the stuff because I wasn't quite sure if I was going to get all the copies, because as I was reading the files, when I'd leave one night, I'd come back and there'd be files missing out of the box. So did I get to see all the files when I did do the investigating? No. But anyhow, this is a book that I found that the Army Corps of Engineers prepared. And this is a guy, he's about a 6.5 foot tall. The top there is what they call standard project flood. That's the 500-year flood. That's at the corner of Rogers and River Road. Now, the funny part about that was in 1975, that's before they built Deal Road Dam. A lot of people call it a levee. It's a secondary dam. And what makes it a secondary dam is the bottom of Deal Road is actually 6 inches lower than the crest of Faywell Dam. So just as Warrenville Road acted as a secondary dam in 08, it ever hits the bottom of that Deal Road bridge, it's going to create a secondary dam. And me and Alderman Rivera, he was able to get a GPS satellite GPS survey stick at one time. We went around, shot grades all over town, and under static condition, if it hit the top of that Deal Road levee dam, we'd have a foot of water at Warrenville Cemetery, and that's under static conditions. Now, what year flood it would take to do that, who knows, because they've done so much configurations of the dam and that we really got no idea where we're doing it. The dam's doing us great harm and will always if it's not removed. And it's very important to Warrenville. That's why I've been on it, and I don't plan on getting off it because I'm going to be buried in that cemetery. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Officials and staff comments? Mayor?
I have nothing to add this evening. Thank you.
Alderman? Or Treasurer?
Yes, I'd like to make a few comments. A report from the Illinois Municipal League meeting this last week. It was downtown. Just for context, the Illinois Municipal League consists of 1,294 cities, towns, and villages. I'd say that there was more than twice the attendance at the IML meeting than when I went a few times 30 years ago. I just wanted to talk about a few of the things they're doing. One thing is they've set up a site for municipalities to post their notices called localpublicnotices.org. And it's a free site. At the moment, most of our public notices we have to post in the newspaper by state law. The Illinois Municipal League would like to get a lot of municipalities using this free site and then lobby the legislature to see if we cannot use the newspapers anymore, which so few people read anyway, and make it much more available on a free site. There was a budgeting workshop. It was given by a professor, Greg Kuhn, who's a professor at Northern Illinois University. He was a student of Professor Irene Rubin. And Irene Rubin had been the consultant for Warrenville during our two financial studies back when I was on the council before. So that just seemed like a bit of nostalgia. There was a legislative session with both Democratic and Republican members of the state legislature, where the thing that they were emphasizing was the need for support to the local governmental distributive fund, which sometimes gets good money and sometimes doesn't. And it's really necessary for municipalities to let the legislatures know that this is an important source of revenue for the cities. The largest parallel session in attendance was on tax increment financing. They were really surprised that filled the room on a Friday afternoon. There was a treasurer's roundtable, which emphasized the value of the Illinois Municipal Treasurers Association, which I'm thinking of joining. But I wanted to spend just a couple more minutes talking about a very moving session for me that was given by the administrator of Highland Park about the shooting that happened there on the 4th of July the previous year. You know, in a world where anything can happen any place, and things do, and you sort of have to be prepared. At that shooting, there were 49 victims who suffered gunshot wounds. 7 lives were taken in that incident. The administrator emphasized that while people were running away from the incident, the emergency responders, the police and the fire were running towards it. And that it was because of their training that things weren't worse than they were. Dispatch received 421 calls in the first hour about the incident. 24 patients were transported to hospital in the first 27 minutes. Now, prior to the event, they had a policy that medical personnel weren't supposed to go in there until after the police had secured the area. Well, what happened was nobody knew whether the police had secured the area or not early on. And there were a lot of nurses and doctors in the crowd. There were medical professionals from the fire department. They all ran in. And if they hadn't, the feeling was that the death count would have been much higher, that there was a lot of medical service very early on. So anyway, one last thing. One thing they didn't take advantage of was the integrated public alert warning system, which they didn't know about in Highland Park at the time. And with that, they would have been able to immediately communicate to everyone in the audience who had a cell phone And so that's something that they've added to their, something they're going to do in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman? No comments? Then we will move into the business of the meeting. The first item is consideration of city holiday schedules for calendar year 2024. Clerk?
Yes, thank you. Included with your agenda backup material is the 2024 holiday schedule. Oops. The city recognizes 11 holidays per calendar year. However, due to the fact that the New Year's Eve 2023 holiday falls on a Sunday, it's observed. It's going to be observed on Monday, January 1st, which then requires the January 1st holiday to be observed on the Tuesday. So this is the only occurrence out of the year that one of the city's recognized holidays falls on a weekend. So all the other days are observed as of the day that they are celebrated. Council has the ability to make any changes to the schedule. So I welcome any changes.
Thank you. Discussion? Alderman Weider?
Yeah, I have no comments regarding this. This is a somewhat routine manner that we take care of every year. And with that, I move to recommend the city council approve the 2024 city holiday schedule as presented.
Second.
Second by Alderman Davalos.
I've got a question.
I'm sorry. Alderman Gastinovich.
Just wondering why Juneteenth was left off of this one, as it's a federal and state recognized holiday. Juneteenth, June 19th, 2024.
So the city has adopted 11 holidays that exist in both of our personnel manual, and all three of our contracts with the three union groups. Juneteenth was not a city approved holiday, so we do not observe every federal and state holiday here at the city of Warrenville.
Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2, consideration of calendar year 2024 City Council and Committee of the Whole meeting schedule. Clerk?
Oops, turn my page here. So again, this is a routine schedule of meetings for the council and the committees. Staff is recommending that due to the holiday schedule, the first meeting in January, the city council meeting in January, be canceled, as it would fall on a Wednesday. The schedule does also include the budget workshop, the proposed budget workshop that's presented in the next item on the agenda.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the council? Alderman Lockett?
I'd like to make a motion. The City Council approve the calendar year 2024 City Council and Committee of the Whole meeting schedule as presented.
Second.
Second from Alderman Davalos. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, consideration of fiscal year 2025 budget preparation and adoption timeline. Kevin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before you is the proposed budget preparation and adoption timeline for the fiscal 2025 budget, which I can't believe we're starting already again. The budget is proposed, the proposed budget is slated to go out on March 1st, 2024. There is a proposed budget workshop, as the deputy clerk mentioned, for Saturday, March 16th, 2024. There is also the opportunity for elected officials to set up a meeting with the city administrator and myself both the week before and the week after that city council budget workshop. If you would like an individual session to discuss anything within the budget at that time. Of course, you can do it other times as well, but that time is set aside specifically for that. So we would ask you to approve the budget timeline as presented and making specific note of the city council budget workshop on Saturday, March 16th, 2024, beginning at 9 a.m.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the council? We have a motion. Alderman Berry.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend the city council approve the fiscal 2025 budget presentation and adoption timeline as presented, including a city council budget workshop on Saturday, March 16th, 2024.
Second.
Second by Alderman Lockett. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Kevin. That's a lot of work putting that together. I don't think anybody's going to question your timeline.
Good. Thank you.
Item number 4, information discussion of fiscal year 2025 elected official budget consideration forms.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I passed out tonight, each of you have 3 copies of the fiscal year 2025 City Council elected official budget consideration request forms. The one thing we did do in the budget timeline for this next year is we actually moved the deadline for this up 2 weeks to allow staff more time to review and get details of each of the proposals before we have to present that at the November Public Safety and Finance Committee meeting. If you do wish to submit one of these, it is due to me by November 1st, so that we have enough time to vet it before it goes on that November agenda.
Thank you. Any questions from council or comments? I guess my comment would be that if you moved it up or back, everybody would still wait till the end to submit it anyway. So,
Well, we thought we'd try.
do I have a motion? Or is that, I'm sorry, we're good with that. That's information only. Item number 5, informational update, administration, finance, and police department FY 2024 work plans. And this is information only. Does anybody have any questions, or I guess how do we address this? Would our department heads like to comment on anything, or are you looking for questions?
Only if there are questions from the committee, we can address those. If there aren't any, there isn't any action required here.
Do we have any questions or comments from the council? I guess we're good. Thank you. That's our last agenda item. We don't have any closed session. I guess we just need one more motion. Alderman Lockett.
Like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Davalos. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.